Hello guys, I'm Super Ron, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to T5 Week. This week we've been uploading episodes every day of the progress we've been doing on this T5 camper conversion. Previously it's been a lot of electrical work, but now we're on a bit of a crossover episode because I've got all the rear trims out to fit some USB sockets. So this is the perfect time to do the insulation. So we've got DODO thermo liner for the insulation, DODO mat for the sound deadening, and all this came from Transporters HQ. Also got some cleaning spray and some contact adhesive, so that'll be for spraying it all in. So let's have a look in what we've got as factory and what we're going to add. So as you can see, we've got the massive quarter panels off, revealing all the inner quarters. As factory, they do have a tiny little bit of sound deadening and a few foam pads, but not really anything that's going to make any difference when we're camping in it. We're quite lucky that it's not a van and it has got a full interior, including roof lining, trims, pillars, so it's not actually that noisy in here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sound deaden around the wheel arches, stop all the stone noise, and all the single panels in the back there where I can get to. I'm going to use the DODO mat. It's self-adhesing, so we've just got to clean it off, stick it on, which is basically what this is, but we're going to do a lot more. That'll just stop the hollowness of the panels. I'm not going to worry about the floor at the moment because they have a really thick insulation under the floor, but I'm going to do inside the doors and inside the tailgate, and that will make it a lot quieter. For the insulation, we've got DODO thermal liner, which is some padded foam. It's got the foil on it to try and keep some heat in, also self-adhesive as well. So I'll be putting that inside all the single panels, just that are going to get really cold at night or really hot in the daytime. And then for stuffing all the holes that we can't get to, we've got this insulation. This is actually from Screwfix. It's house insulation by Dial. It's not the itchy stuff. This is actually made from recycled plastic. They advise against using the fiberglass loft insulation because with the condensation, it can trap moisture in there, and that's the last thing you want inside your panels. But this is made from recycled plastic bottles. So one bonus, not itchy. The other bonus, it can be all put inside the car with no problem. You can get this from Transporter HQ as well, but it's nearly double the price. You can get this from B&Q, Wix, Screwfix, and I think this was only about 20 quid. So anywhere I can't get with the thermo liner, I'm going to be stuffing this stuff up there. So let's make a start in the back. I won't be able to get to everything on this side because we have got the heater matrix there, and the heater water pipes do run inside there for the rear fan blower. But we can still get all the single skin there and all around the wheel arch. So I'll do all that. But as you can see, it's probably never been uncovered before. The cards have never come off. So I'll get all this cleaned up. So all the self-adhesive stuff, get all the old bits out and make a much nicer job. Might have to do something with this tow bar wiring as well. I'm not sure I can put that back in like that. So let's get all this dusted off, and then we'll give it a squirt over with the cleaning spray, just a bit of a degreaser, and then start covering up all the edges. Right, pretty happy with that. Got both sides on all the surface area. Mainly it's going to be here where all the road noise comes from, and then the flat panels inside. So it doesn't have to be every single centimetre covered, but we're nicely. So now let's start unrolling this thermal insulation. So I'll put that in the actual cavities itself, up against the outside walls. I think I'll probably lay it out, cut it to size, and that will sit in there. And that is this side, all thermo matted up. Everywhere there's a flat space, gone right in. Then anywhere I couldn't get, I've stuffed with the fluff. So I stuffed the pillars all the way up to the top, so they're nice and insulated all the way around. Up at the top, right in the creases, anywhere I couldn't get it. Even put some round the top here just for some more sound deadening. Same on this side. Got it all in, got it all round. Everywhere, right down to the bottom, all the way up the pillars, over to the top. I checked where the air intake for that is. That is down there, so I made sure not to put any fluff near that. But we are looking good. I can't put any on the face there because the pillar trims all fit really flush there, so we can't put any in there. But I've stuffed inside the pillars, so that is looking good. Guess next we'll do the tailgate. Not really a lot of access in the boot, but we've got some sound deadening on. So let's get some thermal layer, and then I'll probably stuff down the edges with the fluff. And that's the thermal layer all on, and everywhere else stuffed it full. Obviously I couldn't get into all these channels, so I just stuffed loads of insulation in there. Same with these ones, they're all stuffed full all the way along the top here, on the ends, and all down the bottom. So we're nicely insulated there. So the central locking keeps being a little bit funny on this, and sometimes, see, that's locked, but not fully locked. So what's happening is the lock isn't going all the way down. The motor in the door has got a little bit tired, but we have got a replacement. So on these T5s, they're not the easiest, but they're not the hardest. A lot of VWs of this era have a big plate in there where you have to disconnect the window, take the plate out. But today we're going to go through that and get a new door lock fitted. So our door lock quite easily bolts on with only 2 torques, but we have to get to it first. So we'll take the door card off, which then reveals our annoying plate. So if this wasn't in the way, we'd just be able to tuck in there, get to our lock. But we've got to take this off. It's got 10mm bolts all the way round, but you can't take that off because the window regulator motor is attached to that, which means the glass is still attached to this. So it has these little access bungs you pull out, there and there, and then you have to wind the window up until our bolts line up with that. There we are. So now you can see our bolts. So that's how high you have to get it. The top of the window is here, so you've got to drop it about that much. So then you've got access through the hole to undo the window. There we go. Then you just have to tape it up. Often easier with an assistant. So the loom is still connected, but to save taking it all the way out and undoing all the clips, I've perched it on there so it's not hanging on the loom. But now we can get to our lock, like so. And we'll get it back in, and then we can sound deadening it up. And you can see as factory, they do put little pads in. It's one there and one there to try and combat the noise of vibrating panels, but we're gonna go all the way and fill it right up. So let's carry on with our DODO mat. And there's the driver's door, all full, gone right to the top, the bottom, edge to edge, and it is all really on there well. You want to get really good contact on this because essentially what you're doing is you're thickening the panel, so you don't want any air bubbles because that's not going to do anything. It's really easy, it's all self-adhesive. Then they give you the DODO roller, so you can really get it on there, and because it's kind of waxy, it forms into a completely flat straight. So I've done all in the middle, so we've got no vibration, and you can hear how much thicker it is. So I've done in here as well, just bits to try and stiffen up off cuts. So now let's get the insulation in to build up that thermal barrier. Thinking about it, I haven't actually given this build many signatures, so I think we'll get a super Ron to live in here. Every super Ron build, there's always a signature somewhere. Right, thermal insulation. And then there we are with all the foam. So I've gone over everywhere where we put the sound deadening, and that just brings up this thermal thick barrier. And I've gone all inside on the inner skins to make sure that's all insulated as well. And then in all the cracks, I just sprayed some glue in there and put the fluff in. So we are fully insulated, stuffed it all up the pillars as far as I can go. So that is looking better. And all we've got to be a bit mindful of is don't pack it out too much, because that black line there is where the window runs down. So we can't put too much fluff out, because on this one, the window does come down into the cavity. Whereas at the back, we didn't have that trouble. We could just fill it up. So it has been a little bit awkward with the plate just sitting there, but it just saves disconnecting all the wiring loom, all the plugs and everything else. It's worked out all right. So now we can slot that back in there and then drop the window down into it. On, plug the mirror in, and slide our window into the holes. Going down. Give it a test. Perfect. Let's get our grommets back in, and then this will all be sealed up. And all back together. As you can see, every hole and every wire through has actually got a big grommet in it. So the inside of the door is completely sealed. Even this has got a rubber seal all the way around it. So that does help with sound and of course insulation as well. But we've just gone one better. So door card can go back on. And all back on. And if by magic, we've got another one done. So done this one exactly the same. We are fully sound deadening up, all in the edges, all on the skins everywhere, and then everywhere I couldn't get, I stuffed all the fluff in. So now we can get this one back together. Panel on, and I didn't show it on the other side, but with the offcuts, I put some on this inner panel as well, just to make that a bit less rattly. So that's going to help. So door card on, which does have some insulation on it as well. I might just spray glue that on just to keep it a nice bit tighter. But VW, do try. And on. That's another door done. So if we just shut this, let's see if we can tell the difference, if you can pick it up. So uninsulated, insulated, boot, insulated, quarter insulated. So there is a definite difference. It's a lot less rattling and a different tone. So now we're onto the doors, which are a little bit awkward because you can only take the door card off with the door open, but you can't get to it. So they're just poppers all the way around the outside. So you have to kind of pop them off here, pop it off down the back, and then close the door and get in to be able to take the panel off. So let's do the rear doors now. So it's going to get a bit dark in here, so I've got a light. But we don't need an extension lead anymore. I've got the nose plugged in, so we have light internal, so we can light ourselves. Just a case of working your way around. What a struggle. And there we are, all off. What a mission that is, just because the doors don't open and the clips, if they haven't been off recently, really hard. But there we are, all bare door. We've got one little sound deadening pad in the middle and this little bit of insulation, but we're going to do the same as the rest. Sound deaden the whole thing, put in the thermal layer, and then fill all the corners up with fluff. So DODO mat first, and all sound deadening. So I've gone all in, right to the edges, right as far as I can, right up to the top. Got all the bits there and there. So this is now a lot more. So that's high pitched, low pitched. So now let's get this insulated as well. And all the thermals in. So now we're nice and padded. Everything is stuck down, went right edge to edge, and anywhere I couldn't get in again, just stuffed it with the foam. There's quite a lot of door down there underneath, so I just kept stuffing it in till it's gone hard. So I know it's full. It's gone right up at the ends and along the top as well. So now the panel outside is fully insulated. So let's get this door card back on and do the same on the other side. Inside the doors, the thing I've been quite mindful of is making sure all the wires, all the looms, all the cables are outside. Because if you put the sound deadening and everything over them, there'll be a time where you've got to change a lock or a cable breaks and you won't be able to get to it. So at the minute, everything is nice and accessible still. So if anything does need changing in future, you can, just as if the insulation wasn't there. Much easier going back on. All done. And this side too. So now we can have a mid-session tidy up because that is all the insulation done. And we haven't really got a lot left. I've got 2 sheets of sound deadening. I've just got that little bit of the fluff, and we have still got a little bit of the thermal liner, but I think that's because we've got windows. So if we had a van, we would have done all of that square, maybe the back all the way along. So that's where that would have been used up. But as we've got windows, we can't really do a lot with them. Now let's give it the thump test. These are sounding like a bulletproof car now. That has definitely made a massive difference. And with all the trims and all the panels back on, that is going to wrap up today's T5 episode. I can't believe how much of a difference it's made to how the panels sound, how hollow these ones are, and now the doors, all the quarters, now sound like they are armoured plated. So this should have a massive effect on general road noise, and of course it's going to keep it nicely insulated in the summer when the heat is bounding down on the outside paintwork. It's going to keep the inside cool. And also in the winter, all the heat that's inside will stay inside, keeping them warm throughout the night. I'll put all the links down in the description to all the parts we've ordered today. But remember, we're on T5 week, so we are going to have another episode tomorrow. We are absolutely wrapping these out. I haven't slept for about a week, but we are getting these daily videos. And tomorrow is going to be fitting this new stereo that we've got. It's not just a stereo though. We've got cameras, we've got AI, we've got ChatGPT. It is a fully infotainment centre. So make sure you tune in for that. We are nearly at the end of T5 week, and it has been a challenge, but you guys seem to be loving it. So that makes it all just as rewarding. So until next time, tomorrow, make sure you have fun.